Good morning, my loves. Happy Wednesday. It is a very chilly, dreary day here at the lake. It's in the 60s and rainy. We're going to have rain, I think, until Saturday, which is, it's good, it's bad. I think everybody, including myself, has a bit of a cold right now. But we do need the rain. I mean, this is the desert. We do need the rain. It's not torrential. There's not flooding. It's just a nice, gentle rain. So count the blessings, put up with the colds. Now, which brings us to the topic today. As you know, we're discussing surviving the holidays. I have a cold. Yesterday, I started running a temperature yesterday morning, and it got all the way up to 101. Not horrific, but as a nurse, I know if you're running a temperature, if you're running a fever, you are contagious, which means be kind. Don't go around other people. Stay home. Now, I'm an old lady. I'm 66. I have my aches and pains. I'm having a shoulder issue right now. I'm in physical therapy 3 times a week. Fine. I phoned them yesterday morning and said, I'm sorry, I won't be in. I'm running a fever. I have a temperature of 101. I don't want to make everybody else sick. And it kind of surprised them, I think, that I had the courtesy to call and say, I'm sick. I'll be in once the fever clears, but today I'm not going to be in for my physical therapy. It's just kindness. It's just respect. This applies to the holidays. And I know everybody looks forward to holidays, getting together with family and friends and the food and the celebration and just the camaraderie, the fellowship. However, I cannot stress this enough. If you or your kids are sick, stay home. I know last June, I went to Kansas. I went back home for a long weekend. And I was on the plane, and there were several kids, little kids, on the plane sick. I think one had strep throat because he was just miserable, coughing and crying about his throat hurting. It looked awful. He was sweating. He was running a temperature. And the parents just kept telling him, oh, you're fine. Wait till we land and I'll take you to a doctor. Well, on behalf of everybody else in the plane, thank you for sharing that. Let's be smart. Let's be kind. Family, if you're getting on a plane, if you're going to a family gathering, you don't know who may be immunosuppressed, who may be on chemo, who may have a chronic illness that affects their immune system, who is on medication that affects their immune system. Please be respectful. And I know, because I have family members like this that will tell you, oh, heal up, you're fine. I'll get over it. It's a cold. Well, for somebody that is immunosuppressed, someone that's on chemo, it's not that easy. You're threatening their life. Your lack of compassion, your rudeness, you're saying, I don't care if you live or die. I'm going to have a good fun. If I make you sick, suck it up. If you die, well, so be it. Come on, don't be an ass. Just don't be an ass. If you're sick, stay home. If the kids are sick, stay home. If they have been exposed, knowingly exposed to whatever, let the hostess or host know. A lot of people do not believe in vaccinations. I'm not going to get onto that topic. I'm a nurse, you can imagine, and I'm an old school nurse. Back in my day, they were mandatory to go to school. You had to be vaccinated. My child was vaccinated. My granddaughter is vaccinated. My granddaughter believes in vaccines. That's just our family culture. I'm not judging anybody else. But there are people that don't. That's on them. However, if you have been exposed to the measles, to COVID, whatever, please call whoever is hosting the gathering and let them know. If you or your child has been exposed, do not get on an airplane because you don't know who's immunocompromised. You don't know who has or has not been vaccinated. Don't be rude and selfish. Now, kids are kids. We know that. One minute they're fine. The next minute, they're breaking out with chicken pox. It happens. If you have kids, we have all seen this happen. So fine. If you're visiting and your child starts running a fever, get them to a doctor. right then. Give them some, children's Tylenol, whatever, and get them to an urgent care, get them to the ER, whatever. Get them looked at so maybe it's just an ear infection. But what if it isn't? You don't want your child so sick it ruins your holiday and ruins their holiday. Holidays are so much better with kids because kids just light up. And a lot of families will celebrate Christmas over Thanksgiving just because the family's all together. And I love that. I think that's wonderful. So, and this kind of breaks off into another quick channel here. Don't allow older kids and adult Scrooges to ruin the holiday spirit for the kids. If your child or somebody's kid still believes in Santa, God bless them. Run with it. Talk to them about Santa and the reindeer and all the fun stuff. Pull the older kids aside and say, hey, you are not ruining this for them. You were there once. They're little. We're going to build this up for them. We're going to make it magical for them. And if there's some adults that are just miserable in their own lives and trying to ruin the holiday for everybody else, call them out on it. Keep your mouth shut. You're not ruining this just because, you're going through a breakup or you're going through a rough time. You're not ruining it for the kids. So you need to grow up. If you can't, you can leave. But let the kids enjoy the holiday because they grow up so fast. They grow up so fast. So just let them enjoy it while they can. But please stay safe, stay healthy. If someone comes in wearing a mask, don't ridicule them. I don't care if you're pro-mask, anti-mask, don't care. Nonetheless, they come in with a mask, say thank you for wearing a mask. We appreciate this because they're trying to protect you. Maybe they're immunosuppressed. They're trying to protect themselves. Say thank you. That's it. You're not saying, I agree with what you're doing. I disagree with what you're doing. You are being respectful. Wouldn't that be nice? Just to be respectful. If your kid has a nasty nose, it's your job as the parent to keep them clean. It's your job as a parent to keep their hands washed, to make sure that they're clean and they're healthy, bottom line. Teach your child from the age of 3 to cough into their elbow. Just teach them early. If somebody starts getting snarky because your child is feeling under the weather, maybe they're just cutting teeth. Maybe you have a toddler, that's cutting teeth. And oh my gosh, we've all been there. They're pulling at their ears. They may have diarrhea. They're crying and all that. It's okay. If how can I put this? Be compassionate, be nurturing, be supportive. However, sometimes older family members and family members in general will have their home remedies. Yeah, be cautious of that because some of the home remedies are rubbing bourbon on your kids' gums. Well, you really don't want a 2-year-old with a buzz. Others think, oh, your kid can't sleep? Well, here, I'm going to go light up a joint. Let me have your kid. They can go with me. I don't think so. That's child endangerment. Let us not do that. Last thing you need is CPS being called. Don't do it. Some people have the best of intentions, and then some people are just being jerks. But your child is your responsibility. Make sure your child is behaving. Don't care if they're sick, if they're fussy, if they're not feeling good. Honey, your child is your responsibility. You correct your child. It's embarrassing to have somebody else correct your child. And in some families, that's just how it operates. Everybody corrects everybody else's child. We don't want to get loud. We don't want to get obnoxious. If your child is already not feeling well, it's just going to make everything worse. And, well, I just thought of this. If your child isn't feeling well, don't stay and you're in from out of town. If possible, get a hotel. Get a hotel because your child may be up and down all night crying, fussy. You may be sick up and down all night crying and fussy. You don't want to disrupt the whole household. So just be sensitive to others' needs. Plain and simple. Be kind, be compassionate, be nurturing, just play nice, bottom line, and don't ruin the holidays for the kids. It's a big deal. It's a big deal to little ones. So let them carry this dream, the Tooth Fairy, the Easter Bunny, Santa Claus. Hey, it's just for a few years and they're going to outgrow it. But it's a happy memory for everybody to have. Keep everybody happy and healthy. And I just thought of this. Oh my gosh. So a few years ago, one of my best friends invited me to his ex-wife's, actually, we were dating at the time, and he invited me to his ex-wife's Seder. They're Jewish. And we went, we had a beautiful time, and she had invited some people from where she works to attend the Seder. And this young man that was sitting across from me at a Seder, if you're not familiar, it's a lot of prayers, reading from a book. I will just say a book. I don't want to get into the Jewish faith and on and on and on. But it's beautiful. But the dinner goes on for many hours, for like 6 or 7 hours, because you read a story and there may be songs or prayers, and there's a lot of wine because you will drink 2 or 3 glasses of wine, periodically throughout this. And it's not a drinking game, although it can kind of appear like it, but it's wonderful. And this young man was not from America. And we didn't know until after the horrible event that he had taken cold medicine. Well, he was not a drinker. And I knew going in, my ex-husband's Jewish. I know the drill. And so we're having a lovely time and they're pouring the wine and we're drinking. And all of a sudden, this guy gets a funny look on his face. And I'm sitting next to my date. And I said, "We got a problem." And he said, "What?" And this kid turns his head, thank God it wasn't across the table, and just projectile vomits all over the wall, the floor. I mean, it was awful. And then he couldn't stop. Well, I'm a nurse, and my date's future daughter-in-law is a nurse. So we immediately jumped in. We knew what to do, and everybody's trying to get the situation under control. The poor kid that was sick was just embarrassed beyond tears. We got him cleaned up. We got him on a sofa. We're doing all the right nurse things. But nobody told him there's going to be drinking. Nobody asked him, "Have you taken cold medicine?" So please, I mean, to say the least, it put a damper on the evening. But please, if you're sick, stay home. He never should have attended because he was not feeling well. If you are taking any type of cold medicine, don't drink alcohol. If you're taking any type of cold medicine, pain medicine, do not drive. Do not mix, cold medicine, flu medicine, antibiotics with alcohol. Just be smart. Don't ruin the holiday for everybody else. So I had to toss that in there. Talk soon.